Hi everyone, it's Jessica, and this is another edition of Raleigh Rambles, where I share some of my thinking out loud with all of you. Today I want to talk about intentions, specifically thinking about and naming our intentions before and during a certain experience. So that might be a learning experience, that might be a social experience. Sometimes those two things are combined. And the reason I'm thinking about this is because I went to the Highway 21 conference this morning, and in the first session that I was sitting in, the facilitators asked people why were they there. And one of the, I really enjoyed listening to people's responses, but one of them stuck out with me, and somebody said, I'm here to stretch. I'm here to stretch my thinking, to hear different perspectives, to just grow and to listen and to learn. And I thought that was a really, just a neat reason to go. These are teachers who have come, they just got done with school and they are technically on their summer break, and they choose to come for 1 or 2 days of professional learning. And I think that's really amazing in and of itself. But I was really intrigued to kind of think about, why do people choose on the first days of their summer vacation to go to a PD? And then it got me thinking about why do we choose to do the things that we do, and what are our intentions? And I think that sometimes I feel that there's a bit of a discord between what people say the intentions are and what I actually see people doing and the way that they follow through with those intentions. And it's not a judgment that I'm trying to place on anybody. It got me thinking about, when are times where I either don't name for myself the intentions that I have for doing something, or I don't continue to revisit the intentions for why I made that choice. Why am I in this PD? Why did I choose to come to this conference? Why did I choose to work on this particular project at this particular time? I mean, I think this could be applied to so many things that we do. And of course, I don't want to labor over every single decision that I make or choice that I make and feel like I have to have some higher purpose for every single thing that I'm doing. But it is really important to me that I'm consistent and that I know why for myself, regardless of whether other people know or understand, that I know why I am doing the things that I'm doing, and that I'm sort of checking myself. It goes back, I think, to when I left the classroom and I made some commitments, and I've talked about them in a previous video, that, I made certain commitments to myself, to my students, and to my colleagues, and I didn't name those commitments really specifically to my kids or to my colleagues, but I wrote them all down in my notebook, and I try to revisit them frequently, and I sort of check myself. Am I actually following through with these commitments? Do some of them need to change? Has my thinking evolved? And it definitely has in a lot of ways. But I think that I see sort of a disconnect sometimes where people will say, for example, I really am here to be a learner, and they actually revert back to their maybe more comfortable role of being a facilitator, or they revert to the role of being a very clear leader. And I'm not saying that you can't be more than one at once. I think that a lot of us are, and those are actually some of the qualities of good leaders, for example, is that they know how to wear their learner hat and their leader hat and their teacher hat and all these other things. I think good teachers are doing the same thing. All of us are constantly sort of juggling the different roles that we take. I'm kind of fascinated by the ones that feel so comfortable that we either hang on to them for dear life because stepping outside of that, whether we recognize it or not, feels uncomfortable, or the ones where we don't even realize we are falling into those roles and those comfort zones, but they are really obvious to other people. And I think that I see this a lot where people say, oh, it can happen in a Twitter chat. I'm here to connect and to get perspectives from other people and learn from other teachers, but then they spend the whole time in the Twitter chat just telling people all about all of the things that they're doing. And again, I think that's great. And if your intention is, I really want to share, I mean, we all need that. We all need an outlet to share and be excited about the things we're doing. And I wish that more people would share openly and put out what they're doing, whether they have an audience for it or not. Like, put it out there, just share it. But sometimes I think that people aren't really clear in thinking about, what are my actions saying? Even though my words are saying I'm here to connect and share, what are my actions saying? And, if I go to a conference and I say, oh, I'm here to connect with other people and to meet people from, who I've never met before, well, what are your intentions saying? Because if you spend your whole time only talking to people who are there, who if you spend your whole time sitting by yourself instead of taking that leap and sitting at a table with other people and talking to them and connecting with them and finding out who they are and why they're there, I think that we miss out on some opportunities to follow through with our intentions. And so I'm, going into sort of conference mode and thinking about all of the really awesome learning opportunities that I'm going to have over the summer. And I am going to be juggling a lot of hats at most of the places where I'll be going. I will be trying to be a learner and a sponge and absorbing as much as I can and be connecting. And I will also be trying to facilitate connections and support the people who I know who are there who might not know other people. You know, I think about how do I now go to conferences and almost everywhere I go, there's somebody there who I know, and it's not necessarily somebody who even lives in my state. How does that happen? Well, someone introduced them to me, whether online or in person, and think about sort of that paying it forward and reminding myself where I came from and how I got from that point to where I am now, and trying to pay forward some of those kindnesses and courtesies. And we forget sometimes, I think, that a lunch invitation or introducing somebody to a group of people who we know can actually be the start of a really amazing connection and something really valuable for those people. And so I'm really just sort of challenging myself, I guess, to be clear with my intentions throughout the learning experiences that I'm about to sort of jump into this summer, and to know when my even specifically, like when my facilitator hat is on, what are my intentions? What do I hope that I will get out of that experience, and what do I hope to learn, and to, how will I want to grow? But also thinking about what do I want for my participants, and how will I encourage those things to happen? And thinking about when I do have time to be just a learner, how will I really truly invest in just being a learner, and what does that look like, and what are the ways that I really want to learn, and can I also push myself outside of my typical habits as a learner and maybe try to employ a different habit or a different point of view or mindset? So that's what I'm thinking about right now, intentions, and whether our intentions that we name are matched up with our actions. And I would challenge you as you go into the summer to think about the same. And if you are somebody who is going to be at these learning experiences with me, as many of you are, I would hope that you would check me on it as well, and just sort of pose my question back to me if it seems like there is a disconnect between my intentions and my actions. I really am thankful to have so many people who support me as a learner and a leader and a facilitator and all of these different hats that I wear, and help me to continue to grow in these ways and to follow through with my intentions that I name. So this is my first intention, is to be more intentional about naming my intentions, and I invite you to do the same. I hope everybody is wrapping up their school year very nicely, and I will talk to you all very soon.